Hey guys, it's Kim Flournoy with the mentor team for Spransy, and I am here. I'm really excited to have Jamie Bush here. He is the owner of Headquarters, and we want to make sure that the community knows what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what we can do to help all of our local businesses. We have a ton, but that's what we love so much about Oregon. So, Jamie, how has life been? How have things changed in your business over the past few weeks?
Well, everything has changed. I mean, we went from doing something that's completely based in socialization. I mean, volleyball, fire pits. I mean, every meal you have is basically designed around having conversations.
Right.
And whether that's a first date or whether that's your family eating a meal, every time you pretty much sit down to eat, you're having some type of communication with people in a close proximity, which we can't do. So, yeah, pretty much everything has changed. We have tried to weather it the best that we can. Obviously, things were moving very rapidly. I mean, it was, no more than 50 people, no more than one person every other table, no more than 10 people, nobody in the restaurant at all. So we have started delivering. We have started doing takeout and carry out, trying to get in. I started selling growlers. So because we have all these tap lines that we can't use otherwise. I mean, we've done whatever we can to try to keep it going.
I love the idea of the growlers too, because that's one of the runs we constantly are making is just to get beer. And I did see on Facebook yesterday or the other day, somebody had commented how they ordered to go from you or delivery from you guys, and it was faster than getting a pizza delivered. And that's good to know too, because sometimes people might think, well, they don't do it this often. It's not going to be as easy or as fast. So you're managing well.
Well, honestly, like one of the huge things that we've had to ask people is for patience. Our phone systems aren't really designed to take multiple calls. We only actually have 2 lines. So we are in the process of trying to add more, but getting a tech to come out and actually add them. Evidently, we only brought in 2. Never thought I would need to have multiple lines in the past. So we're working on that. So patience from people when they're trying to get out, that would be wonderful. We're trying the best that we can, especially then with the curbside pickups, because then they need to call again. And that ties up a line just to tell them that they're out there. So now we've actually, on like Fridays and Saturdays when we're busy, we'll have a staff member like in the hallway, and like when they see somebody pull up, they like run out to their like, hey, what's your name? And then they can go in and get their food.
Oh,
so working on all these different problems, everything is a challenge, but I mean, nobody right now is having an easy time of it. I mean, no matter what your job, there's just nothing out there that's simple. So we're trying to function in how like we feel that we can continue like over the next couple of months. We started to add in things like family dinners where we try to give like larger portions.
We love that. I had 2 neighbors that did that. The barbecue dinner Saturday night, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we started doing that just because we thought, well, okay, here's an opportunity for us to give like kind of a really large portion, because most stuff can be eaten the next day and people don't just need to have a meal and then that's it. Like it's over. They can be like, oh, well, I can warm that up tomorrow and then I can have leftovers.
Yeah. I have to commend you on changing and adjusting with the time so quickly, because I've been in the restaurant business. I came from the restaurant industry for 15 years.
Okay.
And I know how much fun that is to have to think on your feet, but at the same time, changing your whole system from talking to people and people walking in and figuring out how to get it out. That's a challenge.
I actually told my wife, I feel like I opened 2 new restaurants in a week. Right. Because I also own Deeks in Stoughton, and we actually had to close Deeks for a couple of days because there's a lot of other drive-thrus right across the street, and so we were trying to figure out a plan of how we can make it work. We are reopening again, but I mean, I'm having meetings with all of my employees going, what can we offer? How can we still be viable? Because if somebody can just drive through a drive-through, we can't just do that. So we went into having these, we have a lot more time. We're a little bit busy. So what we've actually started doing is trying to create more extensive options, things that take a little more time on our part.
Okay. I think that's awesome. I mean, and you have to look at it from a business perspective. You can't just be open. It's got to make sense. How many employees do you have between both restaurants?
In the past or now?
Now. Oh, in the past and then now.
About 120 and about 25.
Wow.
So now a lot of them were part-time people, and so that's And so some of them are actually willing to come back as we started to deliver. We have offered up opportunities. So as we get busier with delivering, we have started to pull people back in. I kept every one of my managers. It still doesn't really make a ton of sense, but at the moment we're just like, I mean, at some point I hope that it's going to turn. And when that happens, there's no way I can run everything with less people. So at this moment they're good people. And so we're doing what we can and trying to keep them. And actually OCB, shout out to Steve Piotr at OCB and to Dave Wittenbach at State Bank Cross Plains. They have been very, very helpful in giving me loans. So
that's awesome. Good. Yeah. That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. And that cannot be a fun process.
Well, restaurants have always been, you know this, if you've been in the business, 60% of all restaurants fail to begin with. So when you're now in this type of a situation, people are very reticent to go like, hey, would you like some money? It'd be great here.
Right. Absolutely. Well, what do you want the community to know? What kind of things can we do to help your particular store? Is it, I've heard gift cards and, do pickups and stuff like that. Is there anything else that we can do as a community to support you when we can? Because we're all going through this,
Yeah, I mean, I've been stunned by how polite and not that people are not polite all the time, but when things were normal back in the day, somebody had something go wrong, whether it was minor or whatever, there would be a lot of like, well, I'm so angry about this sort of. People have been unbelievably kind. I mean, on our first Friday night, we had a delivery, but we put it in the carryout pile and we had the whole bar set up and we had taped off sections. So like people, when they would come, we could grab their package. I mean, because we've turned into a carryout place and screwed up. And we did not actually have this person in the right order because we're brand new at this.
Right.
1 hour later, we're like, this person never came and picked up their food. And then we looked at it and we went, oh, it's a delivery. Yeah. And so we remade it immediately and went out to their house. And so it was like an hour and 25 minutes after they ordered it. And they were so kind. They were just like, it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're trying something new. This isn't how we designed our business. This isn't how we designed our model. So the fact that we're kind of working the kinks out on the fly, we just truly appreciate everyone's patience.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people who haven't been in the industry don't understand how technical it can be. And so it's not a matter of why aren't they answering the phones? It's, well, we have to get lines added and now we have to change it to this and we can't just order it this way. We have to put all these things in the POSI system or whatever you use for reading.
Yeah, that was one of the other huge issues we had is just our POS system. People, the way that our staff would ring in orders, it can take 3 to 5 minutes. And so as they're sitting in front of the POS doing it, they were holding a line. Well, all of a sudden it's a Friday at 5:30 and you have 25 people trying to call you. You only have 2 lines to begin with. And then all of a sudden, there's a 5-minute long conversation. So we actually started we would just answer, take a name, and then have a different employee call from their own cell phone. So that way we'd free up the lines. We've been, again, as you said, there's a lot of pieces to this.
Yeah. And I saw Miranda posted the other day just that the reason y'all haven't gone to online order is you've got to keep the quality there. And is that a matter of getting the orders in or having the website that allows you to do that too?
We could have gone to online ordering, but we really run into a very short window where people most likely want to have dinner, which, at 5:30, 6:30. And so without having any control, we could get 50 orders in 5 minutes. And then our machine would just pick out 50 orders. It's going to take me an hour and 20 minutes to make those 50 orders, which means that now the person who rang that in is going to show up because they've been there's been an automated message. Your food will be ready in 40 minutes. It's not ready. And then they show up and they're not mad. So,
right.
But they're just like, why am I not picking up my food? And you're like, well, I don't have it because you were in the middle of that rush. And so if we don't have control over that, and then we pull out a lot of our we don't know how much sales we're going to have every night. Like I don't have any data. So, I had years and years of data knowing, okay, I know how much fish to pull. I'm going to pull 50 pounds of fish, or I'm going to pull, whatever I need to pull out on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that way it's thawed and then we can have it, or we can pull out, like if we're doing baked cod or whatever we're going to do. And so we have all these different mechanisms that we build in and we don't know what we're going to do. So now it's like, so we had a point where we were almost out of fish and I had to pull out perch. And I was like, okay, well, we have to switch off of cod. But now again, how do you do that in real time to tell the customers that they can't order something because you're out of it and they're ordering it and you don't have any control? How do you get in touch with them to tell them, hey, that order that you put in an hour ago that you're here to pick up, we don't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
That's where we decided not to do it that way, because really it's only Friday nights and Saturday nights that really we run into that. I mean, the rest of the time our phone lines are usually, even having just two is enough.
so are you saying between 5:30 and 6:30, that's when it's crazy? Or that's the dinner time?
Well, and that's so for oh, sorry. One of the things that we did, I had somebody's texting me, and so I can't see you. I'm like,
No worries.
no, we did a barbecue special, and so what we started doing with the family meals is we've asked people to pre-order them, because then we know how many we have to prep and at what time. So then that way our phone lines aren't being tied up for them to order at that time. So we're like, hey, if I mean, most people have the day off, so if they're thinking about having food from us, they can order at any time. So if they're like, hey, I'm going to get fish, and I know that I want to get my fish at 5:30. Well, if they call me at 2, I'll have it ready at 5:30. I can do that. But so that's one of the things that we've tried to throw it on Facebook, like, hey, give us a call earlier. So I did a case of ribs. We smoked a case of ribs, case of brisket, case of pork, and everything. We had this big meal, and we had 19 orders of it.
That's awesome.
We sold out before 5 o'clock. Like, I actually had all 19 gone. So we actually at 5 o'clock we're trying to figure out what else we could do for a special that night.
Wow.
We had already, it was fantastic. For me, I was like, wow, people really like this, so we're going to do it again. But
Right.
We are on the move, as you say. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is all moving target. It's so fluid.
Yeah, but I think that's a great idea too. Just, I'd like the community to know the other piece of it, where we might run out of the food, or if we have too much and it goes bad because we can't sell it, paying attention to all those pieces that are moving.
Well, I've never been open during a pandemic before, so I'm not really sure how much I need.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I know the community always wants to hear from the man himself, what's really going on, how is this working? And so I think it's really important to pull the owners in. And like I said, our community, I've only been here for almost 3 years, but that's what I love about it. There are so many local businesses, but in a time like that, that's the first thing that hits my heart is, what are we going to do? We have so many people, to take care of. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me.
Oh, happy to. It's great to get the information out. You guys are doing a great job, like, letting people know. Because I'm pretty much like, I don't have a huge social media. Anybody who knows me or even knows the business probably doesn't know who I am, and they're probably like, we've never seen that guy, because I live in the city. So it's not my normal mentality to kind of push that forward, but this has been a time where it's more about the staff. It does help. If I was able to keep 20 some people, that's not as many as I wanted to, but I'm hoping we can keep bringing people back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was great to talk to you. I'm glad I finally got to meet you too, because I've known Miranda since I've been here.
I'm actually known quite frequently as Miranda's husband.
Yes. We're the house on the corner with the crazy dog.
There you go. See, that's how it always happens. There you go.
Exactly.
People move different ways.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you again, and we'll definitely be ordering this weekend. We'll do the family dinner.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, and you have a great day.
You too.